There's a really good lesson that I learned from running, and I want to share it with you because I think it holds tremendous value for anybody who gets it. In a race, everybody shows up to the starting line with a personal best. Every athlete on the line has a personal best. Doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, what you have, what you don't have. Everybody has a personal best of their performance in that field to date. The race starts, and at the end of the race, the man in the first place raises his hands, he celebrates, he's elated, the crowd is celebrating with him, they're cheering him on, and that's because he was the best in the field. He was the strongest, he was the fastest, and he deserves to be celebrated. At the end of the race, the man in the last place comes through the line, and he celebrates just as much as the guy in the first place. The guy who comes in last celebrates just as much as the guy who came in first. And the crowd doesn't get it. Not everybody is celebrating with him. The crowd is not cheering him on. He doesn't have the cheers of the crowd. And that's because not everybody understands why he's cheering. But he's getting the cheer that counts the most. He's getting the celebration that counts the most, and that's his cheer, his celebration. And the reason why he's celebrating just as much as the guy in the first place is because he remembers his personal best from before the race, and he realizes, he checks the clock, that I just beat my personal best. I am better than I was when I walked into this race. I am better than I was yesterday. And maybe he even thinks about where he started. He thinks about where he comes from. And he realizes that what I just did is phenomenal because I am not the man that I used to be. And when I look back at where I come from, when I look at my personal best as I walked into this race, there is so much to celebrate. And although he doesn't have the acknowledgement and the celebration and the cheers of the crowd, he has the cheer that counts the most, and that's his own cheer, his own celebration, his own acknowledgement. And every single race, he will keep on showing up and he will do his best. And with every personal best that is broken, it's a reason to celebrate. Whether you were in the first place or whether you were in the last place, hear me out. You know where you started. You know where you come from. You know what it took for you to get to where you are. And so although you may not be the strongest in the field, the fastest in the field, you know where you come from. You know what you've been through. You know what it took for you to even be in the race. You know the personal best that you walked into the race with. We don't all walk in with the same personal best. Somebody's personal best is that they were born into a family with $100 million. Somebody's personal best is that they grew up in an RDP house. Somebody's personal best is that they were raised on grants. Not everybody has the same personal best. Somebody's personal best is that they grew up with a single mother who did everything for them, and that is the best they ever seen. And so if I can be a present father, then that is my personal best, and that is reason to celebrate. Somebody's personal best is that they grew up in a loving home with parents who loved them, showed them affection, gave them everything they needed. And you don't compare yourself to people because you know your personal best. The next person doesn't understand your personal best. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know where you've been. They don't understand. They don't get it. And so they might frown a little bit when they see you cross the finish line, even though you're in the last place, the second place, or whatever place. When they see you cross the finish line and you are cheering, you're elated just as much as the guy in the first place. When they see that, they may not understand it. They may not cheer with you. They may not celebrate with you. But you get to have the cheer that counts the most. And it is your cheer, your acknowledgement, your celebration, because it is you who knows what personal best you walked into the race with. And you know that the odds you had to overcome, you know that after everything you've been through, it's a miracle for me to be in the race. It's a wonder that I'm even here today. And so I'm going to celebrate as though I came in at the first place. I'm going to celebrate as though I won just as much as the guy in the first place, because I know the personal best that I walked in here with. And when I look at the guy that walked into the race and the guy that's finishing the race, it's not the same guy. I'm better now. I'm better now. I've grown. I've become something that I never dreamed I could be. And so that is enough reason for me to celebrate. Here's all I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is that you know the personal best that you walked into the race with. Don't compare yourself to nobody else. Even if the crowd doesn't cheer you on because you didn't come in the first place, because you don't look like you're the strongest on the field, you're the fastest on the field, you know what your personal best is. And the only cheer that matters, the only acknowledgement that counts, is your own.